Thanks for joining us again. Back into Dolph Lundgren territory, Jared.
What, are you happy to be there?
I used to think I was always happy to be in Dolph's bosom, but I don't know how happy I am at this present moment. We've hunted down a picture that we have wanted to watch for a while when we went through the whole Die Hard ripoffs section that we had many episodes back.
Yes.
And it's called Command Performance. And it's kind of Die Hard at a rock concert, so to speak.
How many people on the planet do you reckon would have been hanging to see this movie as much as we were at this point?
Not many. And I suggest less. We've seen it. But that all in good time, Jared, all in good time.
I think we need to go to like some sort of group therapy session or something.
In a way, I wish Dolph would retire. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Although I've still got a large portion of his fucking filmography that I haven't seen, so I guess that the point is moot there.
Yep.
But before we get to that, quick run through of what we might have seen. I have seen very little. I watched the documentary that just came onto Shudder called Sharksploitation, Jared. And this will probably segue perfectly into your section because I believe you saw it as well.
I did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good bit of fun. I've never seen so many bad movies in one fucking documentary in my life. There were so many bad shark movies. Well, once we hit the 2000s, things got out of hand.
Well, you know, we've been having conversations about you talking about, you know, Jaws 2 is pretty close and blah, blah, blah. And this movie did nothing but reinforce the fact that even with Jaws 2, there has not been a shark movie within a fucking bull's roar of Jaws for nearly 50 years.
Yes, correct.
It's kind of gone from, and even it just sort of reinforced further how it went from Jaws was just so good, but then we went to just schlocky
crap. Immediate attempts to cash in on it.
Yeah.
That one about the Burt Reynolds movie was a bit of a fucking
that was
worry.
That was a little
that
troubling.
guy was actually killed.
Yes.
And they left it in there.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Correct. We haven't had a great shark movie since Jaws.
I mean, in all honesty, we can lay if we were to circle sort of 5 to 10 of the best Jaws rip-offs, things like Piranha, Tentacles, Orca, Deep Blue Sea, they're all in there.
Yeah, exactly. And look, unfortunately, this is the thing. If you had to say Jaws is the number one shark film, then the gap between the number two is fucking huge. Do you know what I mean? Like, I consider the next best one for me, personally, to be Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
And it's good fun, but it's got all sorts of problems.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, you know, The Shallows is quite good.
Yeah.
And even 47 Metres Down's okay.
Yep. And I think, look, a lot of them are perfectly fun sort of experiences to watch.
Yeah.
But when everything is, okay, Jaws, this. It's like, the scale just kind of goes...
Yeah, exactly. And look, I've got a question, though, after watching that documentary.
Yes.
And I think I know the answer because we've just explained that the gap between the Jaws and all these other ones is quite large.
Yeah.
But can you remake Jaws? Can it be remade in this current climate, Jared? We talked about saying that, you know, everything's on the table. Is Jaws on the table?
I don't see like a natural kind of avenue to it. Like, there's certain things where you hear about them being remade and you're like, oh, well, you know, updating it for particular...
Yeah, or the original was kind of so
yeah.
we can expand on it. We can make it better.
Elements have aged about it. I don't see like a natural thing with Jaws. Especially because our understanding of sharks is a little better, so it's sort of harder to look at it that way. But oftentimes me and you have these conversations and I'm like, I'm not precious about remaking anything, let's just fucking throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. I think Jaws might be my exception to that. Let's just do something else.
Yes.
That is influenced by Jaws.
I think the reason is that we haven't had a better shark picture. So why would we remake something that's already the top of the pile?
Yeah.
Substantially top of the pile.
Yeah.
So why would we not just leave it alone?
I think it's another case where it's just waiting for someone to come along with a really cool twist on things.
And I just don't
not
feel like there's
sharks that can be on sand or on the moon or in a tornado. Like,
what about the ones that are curing cancer and it's become fucking very apparent that sharks can get cancer?
I love the high concept approach.
Yeah, so do I. I think it's because Jaws is currently... Jaws is untouchable because hasn't been bested. So when you haven't bested it, you can't really remake it.
No, that's right. And when you don't look at it and say, things are sagging, things are falling off on this.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
You still watch Jaws and you're like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It still pulls in dollars at like the drive-ins where they have the water and stuff.
Yep.
And people love it, still love it.
Yep.
So it's...
That's because, again, 50 years, Bulls Raw.
Bulls Raws. Yeah, we're fucking a long way away. But also, I feel like...
it's a couple of Bulls Raw sort of put together.
Yeah, they're a way off.
Because Jaws 2, although fun, she's pretty forgettable. She's pretty, like, you know...
At the very least, one thing I will say about Jaws 2, after I made some fucking pretty poor commentary last episode, saying that I felt like I could go snake eyes on it, and you were like, fucking stop.
No, each to their own. Each to their own.
I feel like it...
But again, 5 stars, 3.5.
Yeah, it's still a gap.
It's a gap.
But I guess I look at Jaws 2 and I say, it actually looks... It's filmed in a similar way in terms of... It's got the same kind of atmosphere that the first one has.
And they did mention in the movie that... I don't know if anyone sort of said it might have been better to hold back on this approach, but they did say that it was quite a deliberate approach to say, well, we're going to show more of the shark.
Yeah.
Burn it and kind of... It was a fun little bit of work to revisit and see things like Cruel Jaws that were out and out just snipping bits out of other Jaws movies.
Yeah. But look, it was good fun.
Yeah.
It was a good fun little doco. That was all I had.
Yep. Well... I actually had a few bits and pieces. I finished up my venture through the Naked Gun series.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't love another fucking tiptoe through that series?
I'm going to put my own personal opinions out there. I think part 3 is better than part 2. I don't know whether that's just... I don't know. I just find particular things in part 3 funnier than part 2. Personal tastes. But, I mean, I still fucking keel over in laughter when... Anna Nicole Smith comes out in that, in the skimpy kind of bathing suit, and the old lady's there going, "Put some clothes on." And what are you doing in my bathing suit? Drebin in the fucking prison starting the riot,
and the whole thing about I'm not a piece of meat.
I'm not a piece of meat.
I've tried everything: creams, lotions, things that vibrate.
The guy, isn't that where he's sort of saying, "Have you tried sexy underwear?" And Drebin's there going, "I've tried everything."
Honestly, I mean, fucking hell, we are juveniles.
I mean, it's funny you say that. It probably is the most juvenile one, but I think it is. I think it's shorter too.
Yeah.
Which I think just means you get a better sort of bang for buck.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, I think it's a bit funnier.
It doesn't overstay its welcome either, which these movies can and tend to do.
Definitely. I mean, you chastised me for hanging around Chuck Norris territory too much.
You were.
I tacked on 2 more Chuck Norris pictures.
For God's sake. Holy shit.
Oh, well, I just feel like I have to
do you just finish one and then just
pretty much sometimes. I just have to... I have to
go straight into the octagon.
I have to give the man his fair chance to impress me. And I feel like, after about 7 or 8 movies, I'm still waiting.
The guy has never impressed you.
No, he hasn't.
Clearly, none of these new ones didn't do anything for you.
So, the Octagon. The Octagon's not such a terrible kind of idea for a martial arts picture, but it just fucking kind of takes forever to get to the martial arts part of the picture. And we keep fucking around with this...
Is he whispering in his own fucking mind?
He's whispering in his own head. He keeps kind of... I reckon there's about 6 or 7 times where they cut into his head and he's there going... It's his men. What are they doing here? And all this. It's fucking weird, to be honest. Doesn't work.
Bread, milk.
Speaking of doesn't work, I went back to back with that and the Hero and the Terror.
Okay.
Hero and the Terror.
I could have told you that without watching it. I think.
I think I've said it to you.
Is this another one of his chuck up against Unstoppable Killer?
Well, Hero on the Terror is like a thriller, like a police kind of thriller. So why do you get Chuck Norris to do that?
Why is Chuck so fucking attached to this kind of crap? Because
Chuck should be just kicking someone's ass.
Exactly.
That's his area of expertise.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm a fucking dessert chef, I don't fucking muscle in on the entree fucking station.
I don't grab a steak and start saying, give it here, I'm a fucking go.
Yeah, I'll take over. This is what I want to do.
Well, I stick to my lane.
Exactly.
And when, you know what? When I can't act worth a shit, I don't try and do something.
One creme brulee for table 18. I say, that's me. I've got that.
Yeah.
But in this one, like I read a couple of reviews that suggested, this is, Chuck trying to branch out and really kind of stretching.
Not
some
really.
Well,
he's a cop.
They
Who's
mentioned his
someone.
acting abilities, and I'm like, his delivery of every line is just like every other line
Has
I've ever
he
seen Chuck
threatened some of
deliver.
these people? Possibly.
I think so. He might threaten me. And so if I come back next episode and tell you that,
Chuck inserted his
missing in action's fucking brilliant, you'll know what's happened. I'm still scared of the man. Even though he's 80.
Of course. I mean, I don't want to fucking run into him in a dark alley. Shit.
But yeah, I can tell you.
I can no longer stay silent on the quality of his fucking films.
I did not watch Hero and the Terror and say, gee, Chuck's really delivered a performance. I didn't venture into your Steven Seagal kind of sort of. He can deliver a performance.
You know what? I'm saying to Chuck, just go ahead and kick my ass. You're moving to fucking hopeless.
Yeah, look,
I'm loading up from there.
You can flog me, but it's still a bad movie.
Before he kicks my teeth out, I'm fucking giving him the whole.
Yeah. And after he kicks my teeth out, I'm writing it on a piece of paper. This movie sucks.
Yeah. And then pushing it into his pocket.
Yeah. He needs to. Chuck should never have done anything other than action, and that's we're heading into Dolph territory. Even when Dolph does a bad movie, at least he was trying to do what he's known for fucking doing.
Was he? Because I've got question marks about that on this film. But you're correct. Don't stretch.
Yeah.
Like, you're not... Like, this is where there's too many yes men and there's too many fucking people telling you that you're better than you are and all that sort of bullshit. No.
That's how you end up in Forest Warrior. No one says, do you think we should take a 10 to 15 to just do some pros and cons on this one?
Let's go and get a coffee, sit down, and just take a breath, Chuck.
Funnily enough, the Octagon, that had Aaron Norris on screen.
On screen, Aaron Norris.
And one of Chuck's sons.
What does he look like? A greedy prick?
That's a bit rough.
No talent, greedy prick.
I think he looked like he could kick your ass too.
Well, look, they're both. I can tell you right now, I've got 1 foot up my ass from Aaron Norris and 1 foot up my ass from Chuck Norris. But I can tell you now, Jared, do not, Chuck. I mean, look, the guy's got to the tune of $80 million.
Yeah.
Right? So, clearly, he doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't give a shit. But
what people like me and you might think of his movie.
I think if he'd have cut the Hero and the Terror out, he might be closer to 100 or so.
But the bottom line is, I think he would have had a better career as being known for his films.
Yeah.
A little bit more. Had he have cut away some of this kind of like, I'm stretching a little bit and I'm trying to...
A guy like Stallone, I applaud for doing shit like Copland because he demonstrated the ability to do it.
I don't applaud him for doing fucking Rambo last time.
No. But you tell me Chuck Norris's top 5 films, I guarantee you none of them are any where it's like, ooh, Chuck decided he didn't want to kick ass in this one and he played a grizzled cop. That's not...
He played a partially deaf police officer who puts on weight. Like, Chuck can't do that for you.
He can't.
He just can't. Like, and that's not a knock on Chuck. It's a knock on his ability to pick what would be correct or what his agent was picking or what Aaron was picking for him.
That's right.
Whatever it is, it's more of a knock on the fact that I feel like he chose roles where he was trying to kind of stretch his acting credentials and he doesn't have them.
No.
Walker is a classic example, and that's why Chuck was so successful in Walker.
Lane.
He stuck to his lane, and he got 10 seasons out of that pile of shit.
Exactly. So,
and I'm assuming he's an exec producer on the current fucking pile of shit.
I'm sure he's getting a slice from that one.
There's nobody... I dropped off that after the first season.
Still going.
Are you watching it?
No. And the spin-off lasted one season and got canned.
What was the spin-off?
Spin-off was like Walker in the 1800s or something.
What?
One of Walker's relatives. It was a female, and then his best mate who was a bit of a... Wasn't he
rogue
or something? A bit of a rogue. He was the same...
Just
the same
his
actor
ancestor.
playing one of his ancestors.
Right, okay. Bullshit.
Yeah, fair enough. So again, Adam, I've just happened to luck into some real gems that I've been meaning to watch for a while here.
Okay.
I watched Action USA.
Okay, yeah, what's that like?
Action flick from the 80s. Look, the plot and the story is just paint by numbers, but the whole thing was seemingly put together by stunt people. So, I mean, in the first couple of minutes, you got these car races. Basically, the first 20 minutes of the film, you spend in this pursuit in cars. Then we end up in a helicopter with one bloke fucking hanging out of it. And the thing that you appreciate about it is you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's a bloke hanging out of a fucking helicopter. Like, they did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's multiple angles. There's in the helicopter with this bloke just fucking hanging out over the water. Then there's looking up at the helicopter with a bloke clearly hanging out of the helicopter.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it's pretty fun. Like, you're not going to it for the story or the acting, but the stunts and the fights, and that's what you're there for. It's basically, Grant Page putting on a whole movie of his own. Yeah, it's like that sort of thing. Yeah. And so it was kind of fun to watch for that angle. Ventured into the cinemas and caught The Little Mermaid. That wasn't my selection, but wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And I actually jumped into, and this is on the back of, I've just shared a purchase with you called the Action Hero Scouting Report from one of my favourite writers, Shea Serrano. I'd gone back onto his old book, Movies and Other Things, and he had a chapter on gangster films and, best scenes in gangster films. And it kind of highlighted a couple of blemishes on my resume, things that I'd been meaning to watch. Everyone's got those movies they've been meaning to watch forever that just continue escaping them. So I ticked 2 off the list.
Which ones?
Goodfellas.
You'd never watched Goodfellas?
Never watched Goodfellas.
Holy Christ.
I know.
What the fuck were you doing?
I don't know.
You were watching fucking subspecies movies.
I watched the entire subspecies series. I watched Substitutes 1 through 4.
You watched The Octagon?
The Octagon. I hadn't
fucking
seen
Hereditary. You hadn't seen Goodfellas.
Like I said, just those holes in the resume.
Christ.
So I watched Goodfellas, loved it.
A fucking brilliant movie.
Backed it up with Casino.
Yeah, Casino's not as good, but it's still
also
enjoyable.
not
Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
Yeah, Casino's
not as good, but it's still
very good.
Yeah.
Casino's more of the... I think Goodfellas is... The story's a little tighter and just kind of rolls along a little better, whereas Goodfellas...
goes a little bit off on tangents, and it's just not as tight.
Even though it's all... Like, you look at it and it's kind of based on a true story, and then you see the parts that were based on the true story, and you're like, well, fuck, the bones of everything actually happened pretty much.
Yeah.
It was more just like the acting and, the timelines and stuff that they mess with. So, yeah, those 2 were fun. And the last one that I got to... I ventured into Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion?
Yep, the latest Marvel show.
Oh, yes. Is that the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn.
Nah.
Well, I read a review on a particular episode that said it was like the visual equivalent of fucking treading water or whatever. Quite honestly, the whole series feels a bit like that. Just kind of bridging a gap. It's not super exciting. I think it's the first time, we've spoken about superhero fatigue and whatnot, and I've kept up with the Marvel movies and kind of, gritted my teeth through things like the Eternals, and I think this is the first time where I've kind of watched the series.
You desperately wanted to stop watching.
Well, not that I wanted to stop watching it, but there was multiple times where I kind of just sort of said to myself, the core reason that I'm watching this is to stick with the Marvel continuity.
Yeah.
I don't want to be behind on the story, and I'm not sure I've got any other reason to watch it. I mean, Sam Jackson's good. I love Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
I think he's fucking great in everything. The fact that he gets to just use his Aussie accent and call everyone mate in the Marvel universe is still pretty cool. But other than that, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm only watching this to keep up with the continuity, which probably isn't the best reason.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2009's Command performance.
Don't sound too excited.
Oh, God. I feel like... Let's just go to the trailer.
In Russia, America's biggest pop star has come for the Command performance, and the president and his daughters are the guests of honor. Until a group of kidnappers crash the party.
I fully expect the money by midnight, or I will begin executing the hostages.
Now, the fate of the country rests in the hands of one man.
It is not going to be all right. I must come for a reckoning.
Dolph Lundgren. Command performance.
I guess the show's over.
Command performance from 2009. Directed by Dolph Lundgren, who directed Missionary Man. It's also written by Dolph Lundgren and a gentleman by the name of Steve Latshaw, who wrote Invisible Dad. And it's produced by Danny Lerner, who produced The Expendables 3, and Les Weldon, who produced Rambo Last Blood. It stars Dolph Lundgren as Joe, Melissa Molinaro as Venus, Hristo Shaparov as President Petrov, and Dave Lagano as Oleg Kazov. The budget was $6 million. Box office, I can only assume this went direct to DVD.
Yes.
I would suggest. Now, this one screened at the Iseka Film Festival in Italy, Comic Book and Sci-Fi Convention Los Angeles, and the Astana International Action Film Festival in Kazakhstan. So, you know, there's a bit of pedigree. They're really trumpeting this one out there to the Europeans. All right, Jared. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I think...
Sorry. Continue, sorry.
I feel like this is one of those things that's just been hovering around where we kind of had the sense that maybe she wasn't a great picture, but the idea just sounded so kind of funny that you were going to have a bit of a, you know, even if it wasn't a great action movie, that you were going to have a bit of schlocky fun and a bit of a laugh at some of the scenarios.
Yep.
I didn't get a single quip about, you know, killing someone at a rock concert. I didn't get a
saying it's sold out or something like that.
You know, sold out or a fucking Showtime baby or some shit like that. Or I got nothing. I got none of that.
Yeah, none.
I was upset, Adam.
I think it's fair to be upset.
Look, I think we had the expectations up there because even though it's not a great movie, it was so fucking hard to find.
Yeah.
Couldn't hire it anywhere. Couldn't get a dodgy copy on YouTube. Couldn't get anything.
Somebody hadn't even fucking ripped it to YouTube.
No.
That's where, you know, it built up this, I feel like it built up this kind of like legendary status.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
almost like a mythical sort of...
A mythical Lundgren film.
Lundgren film. That we couldn't even get a blurry VHS fucking transfer on YouTube. So that probably added to it, but my God, it was flat.
Yeah, it was fucking flat.
For an action movie, it was very flat. I feel like the budget clearly played a part. I don't think Dolph's direction was really something I could be super positive about.
No.
It was just really down the line. No fucking... I saw in another review that kind of summed up some of my issues with it perfectly. That was, there's not a twist, there's not a double cross, there's nothing. So we just kind of stumbled through it, and yeah, I felt like I was just kind of sitting there by the end of it.
Yeah, to grin and bear it.
I felt like I needed one of those machines from bloody Clockwork Orange to keep my eyes stuck on the screen because I was disengaged.
Yeah. What would you give it?
1.5.
1.5. I'll join you on 1.5. Flat perfectly sums it up. Dolph is hugely overextended. He's writing, directing, and acting. He clearly has no handle on any of them. Seems a little bit harsh, but
we know he can act, but
Dolph's a guy who's been in the salt mines of direct-to-video action films for years.
Yeah.
He should know what will pull people in. But this movie it's just so boring.
Yeah, that's probably its biggest crime.
Yes. It is just overstuffed with characters, and yet we know none of them. So the whole thing is kind of like it's just a hodgepodge of all these kind of like random conversations that don't mean anything. And then, you throw in a fucking villain who is just one of those boring thugs that, that they trot out sometimes in these lower rent films. They don't try to do anything different with it. I look at something like Sudden Death and I think, that one takes the Die Hard formula, doesn't do anything fucking greatly outstanding, but produces a pretty entertaining little flick.
Yeah.
And then we could have been there with this.
Yep.
But wherever they shot this, I mean, the acting, the people they got from who are acting are just fucking awful.
Okay.
Oh, God, let's get into it. Bloody hell.
The likes section is not going to be long.
Look, Dolph plays a pretty mean drum, though. I was sceptical because you told me that Dolph was also doing this one. I said it was a passion project of his, and you were like, "Well, I think it's it's picking up the money project.
Yeah, pick up 3 paychecks worth.
Yeah,
pick up the actor's paycheck, and then say I'll take the writers and the directors as well. Thank you very much.
But also the drummers. I'll take the drummers' paycheck as well, and he can actually play the drums quite well.
Well. If you're looking for him to be in this role and play the drums on film, you're perfectly happy with what he's producing in that area.
Correct.
I didn't need people going, "Who's the drummer? He's pretty good." Like things like that.
Look, I mean, that's where you get. See, Dolph. It feels a little bit, and this is in the dislikes, but it feels a little bit like Dolph's gone into Seagal territory here. That kind of like, he's just the fucking greatest person who's ever lived.
Yeah. There was a bit of that early on.
Yeah, and Seagal used to do that in all his movies. That whole thing about how awesome is this guy. Mm-hmm. And it's an ego thing.
Of course. Similar like for me, not purely focused on the drumming, but I can buy Dolph in the fucking saggy rockstar role. I mean, you and I have been to a Bon Jovi concert or two, Adam, when the phase of their career could probably be described as saggy.
If Dolph Lundgren was on stage, I would not mistake him for the rest of the Bon Jovi.
Well, if you had have stood Dolph here next to Richie Sambora by the time we'd seen them in concert, I'd have said, "Gee, Dolph's in fucking good nick."
Yeah. Richie'd fallen on hard times, I believe, at that stage. Just to clarify, Richie was in a bad place.
Okay, Dolph and Joy Bon. I'd still say, "Gee, Dolph looks pretty good." Next to noted fucking good-looking rooster John Bon Jovi.
But also noted bum sagger.
Yeah. Well, they're all wearing their leather strides to keep the fucking bums from sagging too far. We know that.
Sometimes I feel like saying to them, look, just fucking embrace the fact that you're old.
Just wear a pair of fucking tracksuit pants.
Well, stop touring.
I love John Bon Jovi, but in recent videos that have come out of him, I'd suggest that's probably sound advice.
Oh my God, yeah. He sounded like he had a fucking tracheotomy the last one.
Jesus.
Well, the last one I heard him, I can't remember what he was singing, but Christ. There have been only a couple of times where I've wanted to jam something in my fucking ear.
Yeah, it's just
and that was it. That was one of them.
It's just a natural part of aging. You can't fucking sing unless you're John Farnham. You can't hit notes like that anymore.
Exactly. But see, I mean, at the peak of their powers. At the peak of their powers.
Take it down. I think John's taking it down a key. I think he needs to take it down 2 to 3 more.
Oh yeah. At the peak of their powers, looking at Farnham and Jovi. At the peak of their powers, Farnham fucking wipes that gun off the fucking... He does. He blows him off the stage with fucking ease.
Prime Jovi was belting high notes, but Fonzie... I mean, if Fonzie's dropped half a key in 70 years... Poor old John. He can't sing the same key.
No, exactly. So, yeah, I agree. Lundgren sort of does fit that mould well enough.
Just to continue the tangent, just slightly longer. How do you reckon John Bond would have fit in at the Arboretum?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, mate. I tell you what, he would have got home on time because he would have got left in a fucking limousine without having to wait for every other asshole to get on a bus.
Do you reckon he's pushing towards Farnham territory, or do you reckon he's languishing?
No, he would have been sort of languishing back with Cavalieri and fucking go. I mean, John Bond would be a 10 years younger than Farnsey.
Yeah.
But
10 keys.
How about 4 or 5 keys lower? And I've said this before. You see a video on YouTube with fucking legitimate vocal coaches saying, "Holy shit, who is this fucking guy?"
Yeah.
Right? You don't see that with JBJ.
No.
And nobody's saying that JBJ was the greatest singer in the world.
No,
he wasn't.
But fuck, you just hold a tune.
But he was a solid singer. Now he's lost that because he's too old. So guess what? Time to take your saggy ass to your fucking Smoky Dawson chair and wrap it up. Mate,
Right.
wrap it up. You know what?
Just to be really nice about things.
I've been pretty happy with my $250 million.
Look, you could retire. He could have retired.
Net worth.
He could have retired 20 years ago and fucking gone off to live in a cave somewhere.
Well,
and been perfectly comfortable with what he's left behind.
Well, put it this way: living on a prayer lives forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll never die.
Yeah,
So he will make royalties off that for the rest of his days.
correct. So you're telling him, just in a roundabout way, stop touring.
Wrap it up, brother. Yeah. I know you're doing something you love. let's the rest of us don't.
We used to. Now it's just a mild reminder of how things used to be.
Oh man, yeah. But Dolph does fit the mould. He looks like a kind of a less drugged out Nicky Six.
Yeah. Definitely hair metal. He could fit into the hair metal.
Yeah.
I see him in a Def Leppard sort of...
Definitely.
Def Leppard kind of scenario.
I mean, yeah, I could see him.
Although that bloke with one arm is still a better drummer than Dolph.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
I mean, the fact that prick can use his fucking foot, his feet, better than most.
Yeah.
You know, and drumming, you need both.
I mean, he could not use that one hand, and he's still got me comfortably covered on the drum,
definitely.
on the drum kit.
But yeah, Dolph does okay in that respect. Like it's passable. And I'll tell you one thing I did actually like, that he wasn't an ex-cop or an ex-fucking military man or an ex-bloody CIA agent or some bullshit.
We're kind of waiting for that, and then it did happen, but not in the
He was a
way you
bikie.
expect. Yeah.
Even Die Hard, John McClane, although he's meant to be like the everyman,
Yeah.
he's a cop. So he's trained to do certain things, right?
Mm.
Whereas we don't tend to go for the actual everyman who's not trained to deal with these things to actually have to deal with them.
Yeah, correct.
So I felt that was at least a nice change.
Yeah, it was at least something, trying to change things up slightly.
The only other two things I had is when he stabs the bloke through the chin, it comes out through his eye.
Yeah.
So his first encounter with one of the terrorists.
Yep.
Solid.
Yep, pretty good.
And then not that long after that, he uses the guitar to get their attention.
Yes.
And then he bashes one of them over the head with it and runs him through with the neck.
Yep.
I thought we were starting to find something. Find our feet
cool.
there.
Marty McFly'd him a little bit with the feedback, and that was where I thought, okay, this is the kind of track we want to be on.
But then we immediately went away from it.
Yeah. That was actually the last laugh I had in the whole movie.
Right,
I'm sorry.
That'll get you 1.5.
I did. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the dislikes, because there's a few.
Okay. First off, hearing the song, that band's not playing in a stadium.
No. They are playing
They're playing a
in
small
front
pub.
of 40 to 50 people at the Athletic Club.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
If I'll stretch to 100.
No,
Okay, 75. I'll give you 75.
I'll give you 75.
75. At the peak.
But
She's a sellout tonight, boys.
the same thing, I mean, it kind of goes to what we said about... I think I kind of mentioned that Dolph thought he was playing... You know, the budget-wise, Dolph felt he was playing Madison Square Garden, but he was playing the Rudy Hill RSL. And so you can see...
They certainly used extras repeatedly.
Yeah, it doesn't quite stack up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And Dolph, that's probably his best directorial trait. He shoots around the fucking lack of actors he's got at the front of the fucking stage.
Yeah, he did all right there.
For an action film, there is very little action.
Mm-hmm.
And what is actually presented on screen is very poorly done. Which sucks because, once again, Dolph Lundgren has been down in the salt mines of action films for years.
Yeah. We don't really have a set piece.
Yeah.
We didn't blow up one car.
Yeah, we did. We blew up one car with a bazooka.
One car, that's right, sorry.
And then we blew up one door and blew a guy up with some C4.
Yeah.
But again, none of this stuff really blew my skirt up.
No, not at all. And if you're choosing to do it in a concert, we'll fucking do it in, like, concert, like with the guitar. Do something like that.
Relates to what we're doing here.
Like, and you brought up sudden death. That's exactly what sudden death does. You know, he gets on the fucking hockey, he gets on the ice, and you know, they use...
And as silly as that is, it's an entertaining set piece.
Correct.
Where he ends up out on the ice going, fuck,
yeah,
what do I do here?
And they use remember, you know, the fight with him in the mascot costume and stuff like that. I feel like that's what you got to do. If you're making a Die Hard on a something, well, use the something. And we didn't really do that.
No, we didn't.
No.
We didn't. And... the action just became really pedestrian. And for some reason, Dolph... I mean, it was 2009. Maybe this was the flavour and the style back then, and I can't really remember it. Although I guess Michael Bay was pretty big back then, and that sort of... this sort of shit we saw from Lundgren here is in a similar mould. Using a lot of zooms and fucking shaky cameras and stuff. Like, that doesn't make it frenetic.
No, I didn't love that. Well, there was certain action scenes where it was, again, it's like, give us a sense of the space they're in.
Yeah. Show me where everything's connected. So if he's in the toilet smoking weed, where's that to where the president is? Where's that to the stage?
Yeah.
We didn't know any of that. Probably because the whole fucking place looked exactly the same.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. You
needed, like, keys, whether it be signage, whether it be colour coding or something. You needed something.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Dolph, again, I don't really... How's a guy who's made so many movies in his time not aware of those little things?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether, again, it's hard to say whether he was not aware of it or whether it was, like, budgets or...
Well, that's right. It's probably like, we are filming here. Whether you like it or not, this is where we're going to be filming.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know...
So Dolph had to work around the constraints that he had.
We don't know a lot about the movie and what was, you know, what the challenges were, but I'd suggest money was probably one of them. So,
yeah. 6 million, no?
6 million, yes. I feel like, just, I don't know. If it's me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we've got the auditorium, clearly. Let's fucking use that as much as we can in some way to, can I drop a fucking speaker rig on somebody's head or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's a simple kind of music-related stuff. A couple of music-related puns.
Yep.
We know nothing about Lundgren's character. Like, and when they do try to give him some kind of backstory, it's really piss poor, and it's kind of like just shuffled out.
Yeah, well, it started with something, but then it's like, okay,
his brother died is where it sort of went.
I think I mentioned to you, early on, it felt like they were trying to roll John McClane and Al Powell together. we've got the McClane, but he doesn't want to touch a gun. It's like, all right, where are we going with this?
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say I was super satisfied with where it ended up.
No. Acting.
Yeah?
Everybody not named Dolph Lundgren is atrocious. Like,
okay.
There's a guy playing the president who... he's not an actor, surely.
Well, I felt like some of them... Well, I felt like... Yeah, quite a handful of them were probably not actors.
Just people who stumbled across the set.
I don't know. The woman in the army.
Yeah,
kind of
terrible.
Get up.
The kid who was injured, who was a fan.
I have your CD. Yeah. No, I don't, because I fucking downloaded it from Napster.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we haven't had your CD, great. I mean, some of these people are not an actor's ass, and it just doesn't help. So this is the thing. I believe Dolph has given some really good performances, and I think he's a much better actor than he's given credit for.
Yeah.
The problem is Dolph makes a lot of shit, and so I think he just kind of phones in some of this shit.
Yeah. But it's a combination of that and what they've got to say and do. Like that kid, I mean...
But when you wrote it
wasn't...
you should make it better for yourself at the minimum.
True. Well, that's a good point. try
Jesus
to punch up your own dialogue as a start. If everyone else's sucks, well, you can say, well, I was all right.
I delivered a performance on it.
But yeah, it's a combination of that and what they've got to say. Like, some of it's just... You kind of just sort of looking at the screen and seeing mouths move. Not much else is going on. Well, that's what I was like. That's what I was like for the last 25 minutes of the movie. Anyway,
yeah. I mean, look, Jared, I hate to admit this to people, but I was on my phone. The last 25 minutes, I was on my phone.
Yeah, it was.
And that is a death knell.
Yeah,
like that's a death knell for any movie.
Well, I think I picked it up to check out his buddy James Chalk, who was also in this movie, to check out how many Dolph pictures he was in. I think I found about 7 or 8. Next thing I know, I was fucking... I don't know what I was... But it wasn't the movie.
No, that's right. And that's a death knell for any movie, especially an action movie where you really should be you should be able to grip people.
Yeah.
At the minimum.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of my early dislikes, the kind of Brittany Spears character, or whatever she... Like the pop star character... The fact that she walks in and before she's even uttered a word is smitten with Dolph is just silly, isn't it? I mean, I know the guy he's a striking character. He's big, he's ripped, but I don't get the sense that girl is walking into a gig going, oh, who's the drummer?
But also...
That was her second line. Who's the drummer?
Nobody knows, because I tell you, you name me... 10 rock drummers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who aren't named Dave Grohl.
Exactly.
Fucking, you can't. I can give you maybe 2 more. Ringo and fucking...
Tico Torres.
Roger fucking, what's his name from Queen? Roger Taylor from Queen. That's it.
It took you a while.
Took me a while. So that's what I'm saying. Can't even get there. And he was in one of the greatest bands of all time. Fucking hell.
That's probably a flaw in Dolph's plan, because he is a drummer and can actually do that. He's made the fucking... the sexiest man alive.
He was the front man doing the fucking Axl Rose swing, you know. With a bandana on, a pair of fucking bike shorts. Yeah?
He's put himself on the drums, and me and you both kind of giggled and were like, when's the drummer, other than Dave Grohl, when's the drummer been the famous one? And he wasn't the famous one when he was the drummer.
Yeah, exactly. Dave Grohl became famous when he was in the Foo Fighters.
Yes, and made his own bands where he sang and played the guitar. Yeah. And the drums and fucking everything else on the first album.
Yeah.
But when the Foo Fighters tour, he's playing the guitar and singing. Yeah. He's not drumming.
When he was in Nirvana, he wasn't the one that people knew.
No, exactly right.
And, Ringo Starr's probably the most well-known drummer in history. But he was fucking fourth banana. like, nobody gave a shit what he thought back then.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So, the other problem with that whole thing, and it's not about the fact that... I mean, Dolph's 65 and he's currently marrying a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear.
So I was laughing at going, this is bullshit. I looked at it and said, actually, no, it's not. He's actually doing that, isn't he?
Okay, so this guy's currently doing this?
But I feel like it would have taken a little bit of work. It would have been, she walked in the room and said, who's the drummer? And not only that, but 5 minutes later, we get the reporter going, and she goes, thanks, you're cute.
It's Seagal syndrome.
It is, a little bit.
So what I'm saying about it is, it's not about the fact that he's not a handsome cat who's ripped for a bloke who's 50.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that a 19-year-old woman wouldn't look at that and go, shit, he looks good.
Yeah.
I'm more about the fact that his character is so fucking charismaless that when they have an interaction, I'm just like, well, no.
No.
Like, she wouldn't be interested in him because he's monosyllabic. He just fucking, he says like 3 words in the first 20 minutes.
Yep. Very true.
And none of it is engaging in any way. It's just mumbled bullshit. Yeah, he's sort of like,
wow.
piece of bills, and he gives her a pout like,
Yeah, there's a lot of pouting.
we might get in the sack later on.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what I mean? Like, it just has there's no effort put into that, trying to create something. That kind of like that back and forth, that little bit of flirting, that's not there.
Yep.
So that's why I don't buy it. It's just like, fuck me dead. You're saying that this girl is interested in him when they've spoken for 2 minutes.
Well, she was interested in him before they spoke.
Well, but that was lust.
Just
That's animal
unbridled
lust.
Just, that's all it is.
Then she spoke to him, she's like, holy shit.
She's like, well, we're still a chance, but I liked it before.
I won't be cuddling with him afterwards. I don't want to talk to him about anything.
Yeah, that was not great.
The villain, Jared. Disastrous. You are never on good ground when your villain is like a henchman type who carries a weapon, and people keep saying like Die Hard it created the sophisticated villain.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think it did. Like Lethal Weapon had some of that too.
Yep.
Which was prior to Die Hard, where you had Mr. Joshua as the heavy, but he was a 3-dimensional heavy.
But look at something like Cliffhanger. I mean, we laugh at John Lithgow, but fuck, I could have done with
some
a
Lithgow,
heavy dose of that as, the head guy.
There's a large chasm in acting skills between John Lithgow and fucking this bloke.
Correct. But
a guy like John Lithgow knows that
mold.
this is bullshit. This is kind of shit, and I've got to play along to it.
Yeah.
But the mould is there of partially sophisticated. Like, he wasn't fully sophisticated like Hans Gruber, John Lithgow, but he was more sophisticated.
But he was spewing fucking funny lines and
these guys,
a couple of menacing sort of just...
I wouldn't have known this guy any less than it was the same as James Chalk.
Yeah. To me, it's like there's a kind of spectrum there. You've got the Hans Gruber, who you don't really need to see fight or anything like that. They're just so good in the acting stakes. If you're going to go with a heavy, well, it's got to be like fucking Tong Po.
Yeah. Big.
It's just a menacing mammoth of a man who you are...
And we're going to throw down big at the end.
Yeah, and one of those guys that doesn't necessarily have to talk or do any of that sort of stuff. It's just, they're there. It's like the final boss. It's like fucking Goro in Mortal Kombat. Like, it's...
Good one, yeah.
That's and this one just kind of tried to place it somewhere in the middle. And I just don't feel like that really...
And it didn't help that the guy wasn't much of an actor.
No.
And that does not help you.
Again, I would say he was probably on the upper end of the people in the movie, but
yes,
just not.
And he had nothing given to him. Like, the script is crap. So.
Dolph's coming for you.
Don't worry. I mean, he's 65 years old. He can still whip my ass well and truly.
Handily.
Oh, handily.
Yeah.
I'm a pacifist. Dolph, just so you know.
I think you gave yourself a chance against Chuck because he was 80.
Oh, yeah.
Then you reconsidered.
I reconsidered that.
Dolph's got 15 years
on Chuck. And
Dolph's got a reach advantage. And
I just clicked over to 47. So, fuck. I'm only going forward. And my shoulders are sore.
Yeah, I had a long walk this morning and I'm still recovering from that. So.
Well, yeah, even Harrison Ford recovers better from the long walk than I do, I think.
Yeah. Puts himself in the rotisserie for a couple of hours.
The president seemingly is protected by the fucking Keystone Cops. I mean, they just cut this entire protection team to shit.
Yeah.
In a matter of seconds.
Yes. And see, this is... Fuck, I should stop talking about Die Hard because it's...
Again, no, but... Okay.
It's Jaws and... Jaws and
everything else. Cruel Jaws.
It's... You look at that and you are like, okay, plausible situation, late at night, small security team because it's not the president.
Yeah.
As you brought up, when Obama sort of showed up in Australia. I mean...
Fucking good luck getting near the bloke.
Yeah, exactly. So the kind of likelihood that it was this easy, just kind of like,
I feel it would have been better to go with a lower level politician who had made some waves that went against what these guys were about.
Yeah.
And made it easier.
Aiming a bit high on the budget, I guess. Because you need a lot of people and a lot of people to kill and fight and stuff like that. And
yeah, but if you're gonna fucking cut them off in like a minute, like the battle scene when they shoot it out with them is just wasted.
Yeah.
Because it's over in seconds, and then that we've lost all that. And yes, one of the security guys survives, but that's where my next dislike comes in. Why does Dolph need a fucking posse?
Well, that's not even my biggest question on that one. My biggest question is that guy identifies himself as the head of security. So if he's still there, I'm like, okay, yes, thank you for your help. You've obviously shown you're pretty capable of doing something.
Now fuck off.
And we can help each other, but I feel like I am probably more on top of the situation.
I'm better equipped to deal with this than you might be.
Correct. You were just on stage. You were fucking in the toilet smoking a joint 20 minutes ago. Why am I ceding control to you? Like,
similar to what we talked about last week with Slaughter High, was that a pube joint?
Possibly.
No, the thing for me is, you're correct. That guy's the guy in charge.
Yeah.
Is he not?
Yes.
And the only reason that...
Well, as you said, he's just demonstrated that him and his crew are probably not up to the task anyway, so maybe I should hold back on that question. But it was just another in this, as you said, it didn't seem right that it was the president. They got wiped out really quickly. Then the head of security just says, yep, it's your show.
Yeah. And the only reason he usurps him
is
if he's fucking ex-special forces or he's ex-fucking SWAT or something. And he has the capabilities that outstrip this other guy.
Yeah, and we both kind of said that that's not the way to go. So if Dolph is in that situation where it's not like, oh, I've got experience in this, so I can handle this. It's like, leave him alone then. He's your last resort.
What we probably didn't see is that the protection guy was going to use him as a human shield.
Yeah,
he basically said,
true.
you go first.
You go first, that's right. Yeah. You just peek around that corner and see if there's anything there.
Yeah, okay, tell you what, run out and scream. Loudly.
Exactly.
Oh, shit.
You go that way and make a lot of noise.
As much as you can. Bang on a few things with those sticks you've got shoved down the back of your pants.
Funny you mention the sticks, because another one of my dislikes is I can't believe you didn't fucking beat anyone up with his drumsticks.
Yeah, that would have been fucking awesome. He plays a complicated rhythm on some guy's head.
I was kind of waiting for him to whip out the drumsticks and just kind of, whack a couple of blokes over there.
That would have been fucking awesome.
It never happens. What? I mean, fuck. What are you doing?
What? It's a movie about a fucking drummer who gets caught up in a terrorist situation and you don't do that?
I was waiting the whole movie for it.
Dolph Lundgren. You should know better than anyone that that's the selling point.
That's the way to go. That's your trailer shot.
All right. Dolph is dressed like a man who should be ashamed of himself. And again, 50-year-old blokes can be ripped. I mean, I know this month's issue of Men's Health has a ripped Pete Murray on it.
Jeez.
And he's in his 50s.
Good.
And I get that people can stay ripped into their older years.
Yeah, with a couple of jabs in the arse.
Yeah, I know when I retire, that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know why. I have absolutely no idea why, but I will.
Good.
Yeah. But Dolph, he's dressed like a fucking... He's got leather pants, he's got leathery skin.
Yeah, leather pants, leather upper torso covering. also known as Skin. But he looks... Look,
He's got a vest on.
yeah, he looks... Him strutting around in the leather pants, I'm like, well, okay, that kind of fits. But getting around in the vest and stuff... I mean, I thought he looked the part earlier on.
When he was in
had
the shirt.
kind of, yeah, the sleeveless stuff.
And he had the fake... Are they fake tattoos?
I think... I hope they're fake. I hope they're fake. He should have just not had them at all.
I mean, they look like the sort of things you put on one of your My Player character in fucking
exactly.
NBA 2K.
Yeah, when you're low on VC. Oh, fuck, I can't get the good one, so I'll just put that shit on my arm for now.
So he dresses ridiculously.
He does.
And he looks like a guy who shouldn't be dressed like that.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if you look at Bon Jovi these days, they dress conservative.
Yeah, minimal leather.
No.
I don't know, maybe their jocks are leather.
They've still got, like, fucking funky jeans on and things like that, but they're not wearing leather pants.
No.
Well, maybe JBJ still is.
Yeah.
He's got an ass that can fill it out.
Yeah. I mean, we are laughing our heads off at this, but let's not forget a 50-plus JBJ when we saw him still had just women swooning over him.
Of many different age groups.
Yeah. We were sitting next to a couple of birds that were just in some sort of bloody hypnosis over the bloke or
Look,
something.
you know what? If a fucking JBJ impersonator had a look in their direction.
That's not a bad idea. That's what you should do. Turn up to a Bon Jovi gig and say, I'm Ron Bon Jovi. Will that do?
Yeah, I'm John's brother. Did you say his name was Ron Bon Jovi? Jesus Christ! I think we probably need a more sort of cool name than Ron.
Hey, that'll pass.
Yeah, I'm Ron Bon Jovi. Would you be interested?
Is that okay? Is that enough?
I don't think there's a lot of takers to Ron Bon Jovi.
Yeah, well, look.
You're not one-on-ones.
We know you're not the front row, so the chance of catching his eye is probably slight.
Yeah. Ron goes further back.
Ron's in the cheap seats. And he can help you out if required.
Ron haunts the nosebleeds.
Exactly.
Holy shit. Oh, God. Coming back to... Because we kind of got off track a little bit there. But
Just a touch.
Dolph's fucking little group, little posse that he seems to have. What was the point of the kid? The fan who's injured? I mean, the whole thing had no necessity for anything.
No.
It didn't change anything. It never comes back into it.
Well, you look at it and you're like, the Argyle sort of role. Is he going to come up with some little thing just when needed, you know?
Yeah, and he didn't. He didn't do anything.
No.
Did he? I mean, I missed the end. He did go on.
He did. We could have done without it.
But to add it to that, he couldn't act worth a shit. The guy was fucking hopeless. Like, what was the point of him?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get it.
And then my last is like the final fight scene, which I feel like if you're going to cash anything, that's what you cash. You cash in your choreography dollars there.
Do it on the stage. Fuck.
Yeah, with all the fucking instruments. That's where you that's where you fucking play the ball goes.
Yeah, that's where you play In the Air Tonight on his fucking scone. Like that's
you know, melting around the scone like that. Absolutely. That is definitely what you do.
Something like that.
Fucking hell. In the Air Tonight comes on over the speakers and he fucking flogs them like to the tune. To the tune of Phil Collins.
I think we need to remake it. We should kickstart the remake.
For fuck's sake, make some calls, mate. I could have told you that back in 09. What's that? It's you're a drummer in a band and you're the hero. You need to bash someone's head in with some drumsticks. Actually, preferably 4 or 5 guys all crouched down at different levels, so you hear going.
Yeah, one who's already been knocked out, so you can do the foot on him while you're beating the ones that are still conscious with your drumsticks.
And they don't move. They stay there during it. But that's the one you cash your dollars in on.
Yeah,
that big blue at the end between the villain who was quite sort of solid, and Lundgren, who's a big boy.
Yep.
And you duke it out, and you do it on stage, and you fucking belt each other with drums and mic stands and guitars.
Well, it feels like that's what the whole thing's building up for, right? And we don't see the fucking auditorium after about the halfway point. So I felt like that's what I was in for. I was looking for a bit of that sort of just, cheesy shit. But yeah, I think that was the end of the dislikes for me too. So
and that fight is unfortunately quite poor.
Yeah. Other than as I mentioned, my own fucking lack of geopolitical fucking
geopolitical nous.
As soon as they said Russia, and then they kind of mentioned something about Soviet Union, I was like, oh shit, I'm lost already. I understand something to do with that, but I can't say I can go too deep into it, so I don't really understand why he was upset. But
that shit goes way over my head, and I do not. I don't want to touch that shit with a barge pole.
All I got from it was that his dad had led a coup, right?
Yes, and back in 1991.
Yes.
But then I think that at the end they said 1992. So I think they might have got their years mixed up.
Yeah.
But he led a coup. It didn't work. He blew his own head off at the start. And then this guy was coming back because the president was... I mean, I can't quite remember what the connection was between the presidential... Why he was grabbing the president.
No.
But on top of that, he wanted $1 billion in sterling silver.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Lost.
Yeah, lost. Indeed. All right, you had nothing else?
No. Other than more fucking, music-related beatdowns and
other stupidity that probably could have livened this up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that is Command Performance. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of our next film. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.